My sister-in-law, Lily, desperately wanted to get pregnant, so she injected herself with fertility drugs. To her surprise, she ended up carrying 9 babies. As an obstetrician, I kindly advised her to reduce the number of fetuses for her and the baby's safety. She listened to me and kept 3. Later, 3 healthy triplet girls were born. The terrifying consequence was that after I wheeled the 3 newborns into her room for her to see, she and my mother-in-law conspired to pour weed killer down my throat. And I opened my eyes again. It was the day she came home and asked me about injecting fertility drugs. I chuckled and said, "Yes, fertility drugs can indeed increase the chances of pregnancy to a certain extent." Lily's eyes lit up and she grabbed my hand. "Then I'll come see you tomorrow. Can you prescribe me a few boxes?" I pulled my hand away. "I don't have that authority. I can't prescribe it. I'm an obstetrician. You need to register at the Assisted Reproductive Technology Department. Only after a doctor assesses you can they prescribe medication." Lily wasn't married. She was only dating a boyfriend whose family home was about to be demolished and compensated. To tie him down, my mother-in-law had concocted a plan for Lily, telling her to get pregnant before marriage to secure her place as a daughter-in-law. But despite trying everything, she hadn't succeeded in conceiving. Then my mother-in-law, God knows where she heard it, claimed that fertility injections could increase the chances of pregnancy. That's how Lily came to me asking about fertility drugs. In my previous life, it was the same. She came asking, and we were family. I naturally told her what I knew, explaining that fertility drugs are essentially hormones. If there were no special circumstances, she should try not to inject them, as it could disrupt her hormone levels. In severe cases, it could cause ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. Pregnancy still requires the cooperation of both partners. Natural conception is always better. Lily, however, accused me of being jealous that she found a rich boyfriend and trying to obstruct her path to marrying into wealth. Now, I wouldn't do such thankless busybody work anymore. I wouldn't participate in any events that would lead to my tragic fate in the previous life. If they wanted to use this to advance themselves, then so be it. Since heaven had given me a second chance, I was eager to see if events would truly unfold as they wished. The next day, I was writing patient records in my office. Nurse Sarah from the Assisted Reproductive Technology Department rushed in. "Dr. Anya," she panted, "please come with me. Your sister-in-law is causing a ruckus in our department." Hearing this, I quickly followed her, only to see my mother-in-law pointing her finger at my colleague's nose and yelling, "Just prescribe it. What's with all the talk? This concerns my daughter's lifelong happiness." I immediately stepped forward to comfort my colleague. "What's going on?" my colleague replied helplessly. "Dr. Anya, please explain to your mother-in-law and sister-in-law. I just finished examining your sister-in-law. Her egg production is completely normal. She doesn't need additional fertility injections. It's hormones, after all." The mother-in-law interrupted, "Not only will you prescribe it, but you'll prescribe a high dose. I've heard that the higher the dose of fertility drugs, the better the effect. My old friend's daughter got pregnant that way. It was a success. How can they lie to me? Lily, quickly tell your colleague to prescribe us the medication. If you don't prescribe it today, we're not leaving." My mother-in-law refused to back down, sitting defiantly on the floor. Seeing the situation, I knew that if we didn't prescribe the medication today, they would really make a scene and refuse to leave. I signaled my colleague to fetch a liability waiver. I walked up to Lily and my mother-in-law and spoke softly. "Mother, Lily, please don't make it difficult for us. The hospital has its regulations. If we prescribe it, we can only give a normal dosage, and you'll have to sign this liability waiver. If we violate the rules, not only will my colleague be disciplined, but I'll also be implicated, disciplined, and fined. If I'm fined, we won't be able to pay this month's mortgage. We'll definitely need your help, Mother." As soon as my mother-in-law heard about having to fork out money, she immediately stood up, urging Lily to quickly sign the waiver. "Better something than nothing. Let's get the medicine first, then we'll figure it out." Sure enough, when it came to their own interests, even her own son was secondary. "Are you planning to inject here at the hospital or do it yourselves at home?" my colleague asked while prescribing the medicine. Lily's eyes darted around. "Of course, we'll inject it here," Lily answered decisively, but I knew she definitely had other intentions. In my previous life, they didn't get fertility drugs through my connections, but in the end, they not only injected fertility drugs, but also successfully conceived 9 babies at once. In this life, although my involvement had helped them a little, the dosage they desired was completely insufficient. To achieve their goal, they would surely find another way. It was exactly as I predicted. A month later, I ran into Nurse Sarah in the injection room. "Dr. Anya, is your sister-in-law injecting other drugs?" she asked. This month, I've given her a total of 3 injections, but she has 5 or 6 needle marks on her abdomen. And each time she comes, she asks me about it, saying she's just curious. I just give her the normal injections. That evening, as soon as I got home from work, I heard Lily scream. Then a figure quickly ran out of the bathroom, shouting, "Mom, it's done, I've got it." My mother-in-law grumbled, walking out of her bedroom. "What are you yelling about in the middle of the night?" Lily excitedly showed the pregnancy test stick to her mother-in-law. "Look, Mom, 2 lines. I'm going to tell my boyfriend right away and tell him to marry me." "Don't rush," my mother-in-law said. "First, let your sister-in-law take you to their hospital for a checkup. Once it's confirmed, bring the test results to their family. With the test results in hand, they won't be able to deny it." Typical mother-in-law, always thinking so thoroughly. I remembered when my husband, Daniel, and I weren't married. The first time I visited his family, I overheard my mother-in-law scheming with Daniel, telling him to get me pregnant before marriage. That way, I would lose my value and have no choice but to marry into their family, and they could use it as an excuse not to pay a dowry. Daniel, however, strictly shut down that plan. Now, she was using the exact same trick on her own daughter. The only difference was that her daughter would use it to marry into their so-called wealthy family. The wealthy family, they spoke of, simply owned a factory that wanted to expand and targeted the plot of land where Nathan's family home stood. Because the location was quite good, they had agreed to compensation of 1 million yuan and 2 existing apartments. At this point, why didn't she feel her daughter was losing value anymore? "What are you standing there for?" my mother-in-law snapped at me. "Hurry up and help your sister-in-law. Take her for a checkup first thing tomorrow morning." The next day, my mother-in-law, with an excited expression, presented the test results to Nathan's mother. "My dear-in-law, look at this. Didn't I say these 2 young people were destined? It only took a few tries, and she's pregnant. I heard your eldest son only had 2 daughters, but your youngest son hit the jackpot with triplets right away. I even went to a fortune teller. Lily's belly is pointy. These 3 are probably all grandsons. Just you wait, your neighbors will be green with envy." My mother-in-law spoke smugly, but Nathan's mother next to her didn't show any obvious joy. That wasn't right. If they were truly 3 boys, shouldn't Nathan's family be ecstatic? I remembered Lily mentioning before that Nathan's parents were extremely prejudiced, favoring sons over daughters. Nathan's mother had multiple pregnancies, always checking the gender beforehand and aborting if it was a girl. But her reaction today? Could she have also been reborn? Just now, when I saw the test results, it also seemed strange. In my previous life, Lily had been pregnant with 9. Why only triplets this time? I wondered if any of my actions had altered the course of events. The hospital called again. I went out to answer. "Dr. Anya, your sister-in-law's test results were mixed up. There's another patient with the same name as your sister-in-law, but she's 1 year older." What a relief, what a relief. I still hadn't interfered with the overall course of events. In the previous life, after the checkup, all 3 triplets were girls. Nathan's family used that as an excuse to call off the engagement. Lily harbored resentment, believing I had obstructed her path to marrying into wealth. She and my mother-in-law then forced me to drink a bottle of weed killer. The agonizing pain of that horrific death was still vivid in my memory. In this life, I would definitely let them have their way. I wanted to see what their ultimate fate would be. I put away my phone, preparing to go back inside. Just then, I overheard Nathan's mother, who had excused herself to the restroom, making a phone call. "Honey," she whispered, "that girl is really pregnant and with triplets. They say it's 3 boys. But with her mother's attitude, I'm afraid they'll demand the moon and stars just for that house. If it's truly 3 boys, we really can't afford to raise them." "Right, I think so too. Let's just go with it." Returning to the room, I sent the accurate test results to my mother-in-law and Lily, telling them the hospital had mixed them up. My mother-in-law and Lily were stunned at first, then became so overjoyed they wanted to jump for joy, even happier than when they thought it was triplets. 9 babies, 9, my mother-in-law whispered excitedly. "Can we demand even more now?" "Of course." The 2 of them were quietly calculating when Nathan's mother walked in with a serious expression. They acted as if they didn't see her, continuing their conversation. My dear in-law, the hospital made a mistake. It's not triplets, it's 9. What? 9 babies? Nathan's mother stared at the phone my mother-in-law handed her, looking at the accurate test results on the screen, too astonished to speak. How much virtue must our ancestors have accumulated to be blessed with these 9 children? She finally managed. Look, my dear, the wedding, the children's wedding, let's do it immediately. I thought. I just overheard her on the phone. It sounded like there was an issue with the demolition compensation for their house. If they couldn't afford triplets, how could they possibly afford 9? So why did she agree so quickly? Dr. Anya, do you know? Your sister-in-law is famous now. She's pregnant with 9 babies. Nurse Sarah, who was on duty, rushed over to tell me as soon as I stepped into the hospital. The other patient who received the test results yesterday just casually posted it online. Unexpectedly, the video went viral in just a few minutes. Since yesterday, media outlets have been continuously calling the hospital to verify the information's authenticity. Hurry, open your phone and see, it's already trending #1. I opened my phone, and the first suggested video was indeed Lily and her future mother-in-law. In the video, Lily was beaming like a flower. Hello everyone, I am the one pregnant with 9 babies. Nathan's mother appeared beside her. The arrival of these 9 children brings us immense pressure, but we will certainly do our best to take good care of such a wonderful daughter-in-law. She then added, thank you all for your concern for my daughter-in-law, and also, thank you to all the businesses that have sponsored our family. Sponsorship, that must be the main point, I thought. No wonder Nathan's mother changed her mind so quickly. She must have seen the video online earlier. Her status as the mother of 9 babies led to Lily receiving a flood of endorsement deals. Businesses didn't require her to shoot any specific commercials. She just needed to live stream for an hour or 2 each day, talking about the products she was using and the things she was preparing for her 9 children. Recording a few videos documenting her life pregnant with 9 was enough. Seeing the amount of donations during her live streams constantly increasing, Lily wished she could live stream 24/7. Soon, it was time for her first checkup. After gaining fame, Lily had announced the checkup in advance. On that day, her live stream audience reached 100,000 people. This checkup was primarily to assess the development of the 9 embryos, and an unexpected surprise occurred. Under the gaze of these 100,000 viewers, Lily cheerfully held her test results, live streaming as she went to the consultation room to see the doctor. In the live stream, the doctor took the results, glanced at them with a serious expression, and told her, it's been 8 weeks, and all 9 gestational sacs show no fetal heartbeats or embryos. Let's wait another week and see. If there's still no activity, the chances of survival are not high. The doctor's brief words caused an immediate uproar among the netizens in the live stream chat. What does this doctor mean? I don't understand anything. The person above must be single, huh? Gestational sacs without fetal heartbeats or embryos mean they're blighted ovums, they won't develop into babies, they'll have to be aborted later. I told you, triplets are already the human limit. How can anyone give birth to 9? Even pigs don't have that many in one litter. It's fine if she can't give birth. Look at all the things she eats, uses, and promotes every day. She's just advertising. She's already made a fortune, so even if she aborts them, she won't lose much. Not necessarily. Do you think businesses are charities now? Lily was terrified and immediately turned off the live stream. The following week, Lily lived in anxiety and unease. But having signed contracts, she couldn't shirk her contractual responsibilities. She continued diligently, recording a few videos and live streaming for an hour or 2 every day. However, in her recent live streams, she filmed from a distance. Finally, the day for her re-examination arrived. Lily arrived at the hospital very early, seeking me out and pleading. I led her through the staff-only corridor. Gone was her previous live streaming bravado. She was heavily disguised from head to toe, afraid of being recognized. Sister-in-law, she whispered, do you think the fetal heartbeats and embryos will appear? I can't predict that either, I replied. We'll have to see the test results shortly. They have asterisk to appear. If they don't, those companies will cancel my contracts. This is the first time I've realized making money can be so easy. Aren't you worried about your health? I couldn't help but ask. Money can buy anything, even immortality. As long as I have money, I can do anything, really. Dr. Anya, your sister-in-law's test results are in. The nurse hadn't even finished speaking when Lily, still heavily disguised, snatched the test paper from her hand. "Oh, there are fetal heartbeats and embryos, all 9 of them. I have to live stream right now and announce this good news." Lily quickly removed her hat, mask, and sunglasses. The gloom vanished from her face as she joyfully showed off her test results to the netizens in her live stream room. Families in the live stream room, the fetal heartbeats and embryos of all 9 babies have appeared. "Excuse me, everyone, some people in the live stream room are even saying my husband is too powerful, making me conceive 9 at once. Here, I want to apologize for taking up other people's birth quotas. I didn't use any medication, no fertility drugs. Those drugs are hormones. How can you use them so casually? My conception was completely natural." Watching Lily lie without batting an eye during her live stream, I shook my head, preparing to leave, when a colleague from my department called me back. He looked at Lily, who was excitedly live streaming. "Dr. Anya, your sister-in-law's situation will require fetal reduction later. At most, she can only keep 3. Should you tell her or should I?" "You tell her," I said. "Just speak to her normally. I'm not on duty for Lily's checkup today. I registered her appointment with you." The colleague sighed and called Lily, who had just finished her live stream, into the consultation room. Not long after, a heated argument erupted from inside. "I have money. I don't care what methods your hospital uses. I will give birth to all 9 of these children. I'm an internet celebrity now. Do you think I'm afraid to expose your hospital online?" If I hadn't brought her there myself, I would have genuinely wanted to run as far away as possible. But now, I had no choice but to brace myself and walk in. The moment I appeared, Lily shoved me hard backward and I nearly fell to the ground. "What kind of monstrous hospital is this? My babies are developing so well, why are you forcing me to reduce them? I think you're just jealous of me." I simply watched her silently. When she finally ran out of insults, I discreetly pressed "Stop recording" on my phone. Though I wasn't sure if I'd use it later, it was better to be prepared. This was a lesson I'd learned after being reborn: always leave a trace. Putting my phone away, I said to Lily, who was leaning against the wall, "It's not that we're jealous of you. Perhaps our hospital's medical facilities are limited. With our current technology, fetal reduction is the best option for your condition. But we can't rule out the possibility that Beijing, Shanghai, or even abroad might have more advanced medical technology. I understand you deeply as a mother wanting to protect her children. Therefore, I suggest you inquire at those places, or you could also ask your live stream audience. After all, many hands make light work." "That's right, why didn't I think of that?" Lily's eyes suddenly lit up when I mentioned live streaming. This was another topic for her live stream, and who knew, it might attract even more businesses to collaborate with her. Lily, taking my advice to heart, went home and immediately started a live stream. She complained about the poor local medical standards, stating that the hospital recommended fetal reduction, and hoped that the vast number of netizens could help her find a high-tech hospital that could successfully help her deliver all 9 babies. The number of viewers in her live stream room reached a new high, but most netizens criticized her. "Is this girl crazy? 9 babies, each weighing 1 caddy, that's 9 caddies already. Is this a script? Does anyone really risk their life for childbirth? Does this family have a throne to inherit?" Of course, a small portion of enthusiastic netizens expressed that they would help her inquire at major local hospitals. Seeing Lily's growing fanbase, her mother-in-law and Nathan's parents, feeling envious, also joined the live stream ranks. The topics naturally revolved around Lily and her 9 babies. Lily, who had always been eager to marry into wealth, no longer rushed the marriage this time. Now, it was Nathan's parents who were anxious. Ever since Lily became famous, everything they ate, wore, and used daily was sponsored by businesses. They hadn't spent a dime. Therefore, they were terrified of losing their god of wealth. They promised that after receiving the demolition compensation, they would transfer all the compensation money and 2 existing apartments solely into Lily's name, and they even signed a contract and went to a notary's office to notarize it. Additionally, they gave a prepayment of 200,000 yuan as a bride price. Only then did Lily agree to register her marriage with Nathan. Lily, pregnant with 9, had a much larger belly than usual. In less than 5 months, it had grown so big that she couldn't walk and could only rest in bed. For nearly 2 months, all of Lily's live stream topics revolved around keeping all 9 babies. But over these 2 months, netizens from all over consulted major hospitals, and the results were unanimous. Current technology could not achieve a successful delivery of 9 babies at once. Most doctors recommended fetal reduction, warning that otherwise, it would endanger the lives of both mother and babies. It seemed the final outcome was already foreseen. Her previously crowded live stream room now only had a handful of viewers. When one person mentioned the danger to her life, Lily didn't care. But when everyone started saying it, Lily finally realized there was indeed a danger and called her entire family to discuss her intention to reduce the number of fetuses. Unexpectedly, the first person to object was her mother-in-law. "Don't listen to those doctors' nonsense. When I was young, I even heard of someone giving birth to 10 at once. Besides, I'm an internet celebrity now too. Everyone knows my daughter is about to have 9 babies. If you reduce them, how am I supposed to explain it to my fans?" Next, Nathan's parents were even more adamantly against it. "Which one are you planning to reduce? What if you reduce one of my grandsons?" The businesses collaborating with them were also against it. The contracts, in black and white, clearly stipulated that the agreement was for 9 births. Therefore, not a single one of the 9 could be missing, or they would face enormous compensation fees. At this point, Lily was like a fish on a chopping block, silently resigned to her fate. Lily's belly grew larger and larger. By only 6 months, her abdomen was enormous, her skin stretched taut by the babies, reduced to a thin layer. It seemed as if a strong movement from a fetus could tear her abdominal skin. Fearing the worst, Nathan's family and my mother-in-law allied to bring her to our hospital. After all, this matter had become widely known. Following a consultation, the decision was made to perform an immediate C-section. The surgery was very successful, and all 9 of Lily's babies were born safely. They were 9 girls. However, as they were born prematurely, each baby's weight was very low, averaging about half a kilogram each. Therefore, they were immediately placed in incubators for further monitoring. The initial testing phase was extensive. The cost for each baby's examination was 10,000 yuan, totaling 90,000 yuan per day for all 9. The sky-high treatment costs quickly became unbearable for Nathan's family. Reluctantly, Lily, enduring the pain from her surgical incision, soon started live streaming again. But netizens uniformly criticized her. "Why didn't you think about not being able to afford them when you decided to give birth? Have your babies, raise your babies, don't expect netizens to pay for you." After several live streams, netizens' curses were relentless. Lily was so harshly criticized that she no longer dared to live stream. The hospital's policy stipulated that unpaid fees would prevent medication from being administered, so they continuously urged prompt payment to avoid delaying the baby's treatment. Nathan's parents claimed they had no money and demanded Lily use the 200,000 yuan bride price they had given her to cover the expenses. But Lily had already handed the bride price to her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law had told her that if the money remained with Lily after marriage registration, it would become marital property, and part of it would have to be shared with Nathan's family. Therefore, she would temporarily hold onto it, and Lily could retrieve it when needed. Lily, finding this reasoning sound, had immediately given all the money to her mother-in-law. From the beginning, Lily had been well aware of Nathan's parents' preference for sons. The previous hospitalization costs were also partly covered because of her celebrity status, which had brought them some benefits. But now that public opinion had turned against her and they weren't benefiting, their attitude towards Lily naturally soured. People were just that pragmatic. When Lily was still famous, Nathan only feared she would run off without marrying him. Now, she was no longer a celebrity and had given birth to 9 premature daughters. The exorbitant costs forced her to turn back to buttering up her wealthy boyfriend's family. Without hesitation, she called her mother-in-law. Unexpectedly, her mother-in-law cheerfully agreed, saying she would go to the bank immediately, withdraw the money, bring it to the hospital, and even help Lily during her confinement period. Minutes and seconds ticked by, but there was no sign of her mother-in-law. Lily called again, but no one answered. She called several times in a row, still no answer. That's when she thought of me. When there was no one else in the room, she asked a nurse to call me. As soon as I entered, she pulled me close, weeping. "Sister-in-law, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I was bad. I should have listened to you then." Listen to me? Since my rebirth, I hadn't interfered with Lily's pregnancy matters. I was confused, but then she continued. It was our mother. She told me then that you couldn't have children and were jealous that I found a boyfriend whose house was about to be compensated. So she found a way to ruin 6 of the boys in my womb, only leaving 3 girls, precisely so I couldn't marry into that family. Please, sister-in-law, help me. Help me pay the hospital fees, and when our mother arrives later, I'll pay you back. So that's how it was. She had indeed been reborn too, but I never imagined someone could be this foolish. It was obvious that with a flick of a finger, she could have Googled the truth, yet she chose to ignore it, instead believing a few manipulative words from someone else. I pried her fingers one by one from my arm, watching the light in her eyes gradually dim. Coldly, I said, "Life doesn't give many chances for do-overs, does it? Haven't you already made your choices? We are all adults. We must take responsibility for our decisions." Before leaving, I reminded her to check her mother-in-law's Douyin account. As I walked out of the room, I happened to see a video posted on her mother-in-law's Douyin just a minute ago, showing her playing mahjong. The moment I stepped out of the ward door, I saw Lily's boyfriend, Nathan, and his mother, Mrs. Kim, approaching furiously. I turned my head to watch, only to see Nathan, as soon as he entered the room, pull off a shoe and furiously slap Lily across the face. "Didn't you say your mother would bring the money right away? Where is it? Didn't you also say she'd come to help you with your confinement? Has anyone come to help you yet? When you needed money, your mother was so eager. Where is she now?" "I'm asking you, where is she?" Seeing this situation, to avoid getting dragged into trouble, I immediately applied for a training opportunity at another hospital. During that time, I put my phone on airplane mode, only logging into my work WeChat. A week later, I didn't go home but went straight to the hospital. As soon as I settled into my office, Nurse Sarah, who was on duty, ran over to gossip with me. "Dr. Anya, you've been away for training recently. Do you know everything that's happened with your sister-in-law?" I gave a faint smile. "What happened?" "That day, your brother-in-law beat your sister-in-law badly and then left, never to appear again. Your sister-in-law cried hysterically in her room, calling everyone, but no one answered. After that, she couldn't pay the hospital fees, so she discharged herself and called a car to take her and the babies away." Nurse Sarah paused for a dramatic breath. "Not long after, your mother-in-law was admitted to the hospital, beaten up until her face was swollen like a pig's head. I heard your brother-in-law's family came to demand their money back from her. She refused to give it, saying that since it was given to her, it was her money. That 200,000 yuan bride price was the money she sold her daughter for, so they got angry and beat her up. But just as she was admitted, Nathan's family followed, intending to beat her again, but the hospital security guards stopped them. Your mother-in-law then took advantage of the chaos and ran off, without even using the hospital fees she had already paid. She hasn't returned to complete the discharge procedures to this day. Can you contact her now?" I shook my head. "Even if I could, I wouldn't want to. When I first went for training, I saw a few messages from her, saying she couldn't reach me and asking me to call her back if I saw the messages. After I didn't reply, she stopped looking for me. As for Lily, I heard from my husband, Daniel, that she took the 9 daughters back to Nathan's family home. Nathan wanted to kick them out, so Lily pulled out the notarized contract from that time, saying, 'As long as you give me everything promised in this contract, I guarantee I will never appear before you again.' Who knew there really was a problem with Nathan's family's demolition compensation? The 1 million yuan compensation and 2 existing apartments were what they had demanded from the buyer. The buyer felt that while their location was very good, it wasn't worth that much, so they withdrew from the purchase.